Chatter sales is the next module. So this module that we're going to go through is going to describe how we deal with tracking sales, sharing sales, and submitting sales. That sounds like a really basic, easy task, and I imagine the majority of you will probably be running it on Google Sheets, where you've got columns. Every chatter has their own Google Sheet with a tab, and they update their numbers every day according to the creator that they're on. So for us, what we would advise is that you need something that scales, and so it's just a function of the system that you put in place. When you scale, checking your numbers needs to be very easy. Sharing sales needs to be very easy. Having an output that you can look at to see what the summary of your sales are needs to be super easy. If you're managing multiple creators, you can't be going to Inflow or OnlyFans and looking at the numbers on a daily basis. It's just a ball ache, and you don't really know where you're at. So we're going to be replacing the need for Excel formulas, columns. We used to have our team leaders and admin staff. They used to fuck up the columns by accident. They're not equipped to deal with Google Sheets, and adding new creators and new chatters was always a nightmare. And so that's what we're going to try and replace. So let's get into it. So this is the database of information. You, as a manager agency, don't really care about how this or this data that's in here. You won't be putting this data in. This is put in from the chatters directly. It tracks the date that it's put in. We then have a formula that says what's the month, and the formula for what the week is. We do that because when we pay people, we pay them on a weekly basis. When we want to look up summaries, we do it on a month basis. They then drop in their gross income according to a form, which I'll show you. It calculates the net income. We then look up in the team here, what was the agreed commission, right? So this chatter gets 10%, but this chatter gets a salary plus 5%, okay? So it looks up that commission for that chatter that submitted the sale and calculates their chatter commission. So this will then be surmised and will create their team pay view later. So once you have this form, this column here, you never now need to count your chatter's pay, because it will do it all for you. The chatter then makes, whoever submits the form, it will automatically select the chatter, because it will automatically show the chatter here, the number or the name, because they will have selected it, and they select which creator it's from. They decide if it's a tip or message, Cash App, Snapchat, and then they have their sub username so that we can track it. And then what we have here is a checked field. So all of this data from here to here gets submitted via a form. So this form here will get submitted. So every time a sale is made, the chatter will say, I'm working on creator 3, and I am chatter 3, and it's a tip income made on this date. This is different to this date here. This is when the shift start date versus this is when the sale was made, because it could be later or before. The day after, if they're working at 11 p.m. they start, we need to attribute that sale to that shift at 11 p.m. on that date rather than when the sale was made, so that we don't double up. Sale income, $20, sub username, you, and then was it shared with another chatter? This is important, especially as you scale. You want to minimize your problems. And so a lot of drama arises from chatters when somebody makes a $200, $300 custom sale or $500 custom sale, but actually they had almost nothing to do with it. They just finished their shift, another chatter came in and closed it. So what we say is that if a chatter makes a sale when they start their shift and it was the work was done by a previous chatter and they had to close it, it's shared 50-50. If they had nothing to do with it, then it's not their sale at all, and the previous chatter gets it. And if even if they send just one message, then it's a sale. If it's like, whatever contributing message to make that sale happen, then it's a shared sale. And everybody should be following the same sort of ethics, if you like. Then you mark it as a 50-50 sale as a chatter. So chatter is doing this every time they make a sale. Most of our chatters will do it at the end of the session so that they can just go through the statements and add these in. Much like what you're doing in Google Sheets, I imagine. Leave that, and that data then gets populated here. Then what our team does, or our team leaders and admin staff, depending on how you want to set it up, is that they will go through and check each sale, because you'll have some chatters that will make a mistake. They'll put the wrong creator, or they'd put the wrong amount. So rather than 10, it's $100, and you don't need that mistake coming through because you're going to be paying away a lot of money. And if people think that they can do that, then it's fucked. So what we have here is we have a view called unchecked sales, and it's a filter of the whole table, and where checked is not ticked. So our admin staff every morning will go, as a first task, will go through and we'll check here in this field. So they will have a look at this creator, go in their statements on this date, they'll look for this amount, and they'll look for that sub username. Checked, all good, nothing to do, click that, and then it disappears. So this is almost like a task sheet of pending work to be done. If you have loads of chatters, you can then split this up into groups. So one team leader manages these 3 groups, and this team leader manages these 3 groups. Then you can filter again, and you can create another view. So you can duplicate this view, call it, unchecked sales, team leader A, for example, and then you filter on a certain group and do it that way. Again, this sort of like finessing of it, you just drop in the group. We can either have calls all together. This is the benefit of the group. You can have calls together. We can have like hour sessions where people are troubleshooting. If you've got cool ideas of new features and stuff that we can automate and make people's lives even better, then let us know and we can do it together. So you go through here and you check all of these, and then they'll be removed from the view because this view is just looking for for unchecked, basically. So you go back here, see this one now shows us checked. So that's the admin task. That's really important to do, so that we make sure that no one's basically taking the piss and putting whatever numbers they want in it. And this is your source of truth, right? This is when, once you've done this, once they've checked this, you don't really want to go back. You're going to assume that this is correct. Then we've got a big issue with the share sale. So if they have ticked in their form here that this is a shared sale, what happens here is you then need to go through, as a checker, as an admin staff, you need to go through and see who is the shared sale with. So you see who was working before or after the shift, or time and date was the shift. And then you say, right, well, it was chatter 2. Let's just check who's the chatter here. It's chatter 2 who did this. We're sharing this with chatter 8, right? So you as the admin staff go through and add chatter 8 here once you figure it out. Then the sale originally was $30. So what we have here is that the new sale, this will only be calculated if this is ticked. I believe it's that one, yeah. So chatter 8 in here, because that's who it needs to be shared with. We know it's a shared sale. It calculates the new shared amount, which is half of this amount, which was the original. Then we have an automation where we click here, and an automation runs, and it will say, when that box is ticked, update the original record with the new shared sale amount, and then create a new record with the new chatter with the new shared sale amount. So as soon as I tick this, it will create a new line item for chatter 8 with $15 as the sale price, and that will change to $15 itself. So let's just do that now. So that's now changed to 8 because that's been updated to 15. And then chatter 8 has had a new line item dropped in, right, for creator 1 with the same sub username message. And now these are both 15 rather than that one being 30. Now they're both 15. Nothing else to do. And it's automatically checked because you know it's good. So it's not going to appear in this unchecked sales section. And so if you wanted to, and this is overkill for us, but you'll just have a look in here and say shared sale automation complete, so that you know that it's done. And then what we do as well, and then we can just carry on the rest. So that's the shared sale aspect of it, and we can carry on down the line here. When we pay people as well, we tick this depending upon how you want to set it up, which we'll go into later. But in addition to showing the chatter commission, which calculates it here, we also show the agency commission because of the different creators. So there's 60% here and 50% here. That's because there'd be 2 different creators. Because of creator 1, we have a 50% agency fee agreement, which is being looked up from here, creator 1. See if it shows 50% agency fee, creator 1. I'm looking at the creator 1 view, so you can go into here as well. Creator 1, and we can have a look. Where is it? 50%. And then the next one is creator 3, which has a 60% fee. So then we have a formula that says what is the agency's fee of that sale, 60% of that sale there, and then what is the agency net of the chatter. So we take that minus the chatter's fee, and then we know that $4 is attributable to the agency from that $10 of gross income. Works out the net, takes off the chatter commission, and then you've got left with $4. And it does this for all of them. So then we can then look that up really quickly and see exactly what money's been made for us. And so this is when we'll go to the dashboards right at the end. I might just give you a little sneak peek here. So if you go to dashboards, sales. So this is our sales dashboard. So this is, as a manager, you really just want to be looking at this, right? If you got a 20 team, a team of 20 chatters, pardon me, and you've got 2 team leaders and 2 quality controllers, and you've got everything working in unison, every day you basically just want to be checking this dashboard here. So we made $5,000 today, and I've made 1,857 for the agency. If there's 2 of you, you've made $927 each. That's how you want to be thinking about things, and knowing that you can rely on your team because the automations and the scale are set up so well that you basically plug into these dashboards. So the last 4 weeks, we know we've made 48K. Last 7 days, we made 14K here, right? And then you can look on each day what was being made. Create a summary. We'll go over these at the end, but create a summary as well. This is really useful to be able to assess who's doing well and who's not. Chatter summary as well, the same thing. And then we've got chatter dashboards, which we'll go into right at the end. So seeing who sold what content, who sold at what prices, and how much money they've actually made. So let's go back to our data. So that is sort of how we do unchecks, how we check our sales to make sure no one's taking the piss. How we share a sale, because it's run by the shared sale automation here, doing these 3 checks and these 3 changes. And then we have our forms, which every time you have a new chatter, you need to create a form. So you duplicate, and then if you remember at the beginning, this is the only real element of complexity that you need to be aware of, is that if I'm creating a form for chatter 8, then the chatter view, oh, this could be wrong. I need to make sure that chatter 8 view is selected. Now, where was that chatter 8 view come from? That came from here in team views. Right? We create a view, you filter on the chatter 8, so only chatter 8 appears. So when I go to my chatter sales, and I'd say I only want to, rather than select, if I didn't do this, I'd have to, the chatter would be able to select all of the different chatters, which means that they'll probably fuck up somewhere, and they'll click chatter 7 by accident. But they're not chatter 7, they're chatter 8. So you have to put here, select the view, which restricts them from selecting anything but chatter 8. So super helpful. Same goes for the creator. So if we remember back in the creator view here, what we wanted to do, or rather team sales, chatter sales, team here. So where is that? Why am I struggling here? Oh, here we go. So if this chatter is working on, what was he doing? So this chatter 8 is working on group creator 3. So at the top here, we create a view called creator 3, and only creator 3 will show. If it was this one, so for example, creator 1 and 2, let's see who's working on creator 1 and 2. This guy. So when this guy opens the form and clicks add, he's got the choice of 2 creators because he's working on 2 creators. Otherwise, you'll have all the creators there. And if you're scaling, that just doesn't work. So you want to keep it minimized. Now, the problem that you're probably going to have here is that you're going to have a team VA or a team leader or quality controller, depending on how you organize your shit, to make sure that these are always up to date and they always reflect what you have in Inflow or OnlyFans or however you're managing it. And it always reflects whose dashboard you're showing them as well. So Airtable, Notion, and for us, Inflow all need to be aligned with the same access for each of the chatters. Not difficult task, it's just something to stay on top of. So back to it, you've got a form here where if you open the form, the chatter will submit their sales, they select themselves as a chatter, and they select the creators that they're managing, and then they put in the data for the sale. Now, where is this form, you might ask? So every chatter will have a dashboard, which we'll share with you. And this dashboard is where they see their form, they see their creators, and they can also see their schedule. So schedules is coming up, but this allows a chatter to know when they're working without having to speak to anybody. We don't want chaos in a Telegram group or a WhatsApp group or Slack channel, people not knowing when they're working. And if you can schedule someone out for 3 weeks, you give them peace of mind that they know exactly what they're doing. Maybe it's something that you've nailed already. Congratulations, something that took us a long time to figure out how to do sustainably. And when you get past 20 chatters, that is a headache and a half. So we've got a cheat sheet, which we'll share with you. Daily sales form, which is what I just showed you. So this is only this chatter sees this page, and every chatter's got their own. So they only see their own daily sales form. Then they have got a link to their creator dashboard, which we showed in the previous module. Super helpful. And then their schedule at the bottom is an embed from the Airtable schedules, so they can see when they're working. And I'll be able to show you that. So you can see this week they were working on these schedules. Oh, these schedules are dummy. There's dummy data, so no one's working double shifts. But it's very helpful and easy view for you to know as a manager, and also for them to know what's going on. So let me just recap what was there. So forms, table of data, checking data, shared sale, and then the dashboards. So if you can get your team to complete these sales forms every time they make a sale, and you get your team to check the data, you should really just have to go to this page here and to know what you're making, right? Otherwise, if you've got 4 or 5 girls, models, you're having to go to each OnlyFans, you're writing it down, you don't really know what's going on. This is beautiful. This is super slick and super clean. And you can modify the fuck out of this as well, guys. So if you want to make changes, you can just go in and make changes. Again, if you want to have a teach-in or something, we can do it together. So if you've got cool ideas about how to make this even better, we can do it. There's going to be some product releases, feature releases in the future where we're doing more analysis on this analytic stuff, but we need to see what the vibe is, how everybody gets on with it first. If everyone finds it really easy, we can go more complex. If everyone finds it very difficult, then solve those problems first, how we're thinking about it. So hopefully that made sense. Again, sort of rushed over the shared sale, but trigger, action, outcome. And if you just follow the steps here, you'll sort of be able to learn how it works, and YouTube also can teach you how to do that. We want to show you how we work and what it is we work with, the intricacies of making some of this stuff work yourselves. Like, you've got to figure out for yourself, or ask questions, or just go on YouTube and you'll learn everything there. But hopefully this has been a good explain on how we manage our sales and how we make sure that we know what's going on without having to panic because you're growing so quickly.